When Dead Island was revealed in 2011, its debut trailer showed a family's dream vacation fall apart because of a zombie outbreak. The trailer's tragic tone won people over. More importantly, it created hype for Dead Island. Yet the game we got was nowhere near the tearjerker that was the trailer. The original Dead Island is flawed but fun. Bashing zombies with melee weapons feels great, but the joy is soured by repetitive quests and a story that takes itself too seriously. Despite its mixed reviews, Dead Island would go on to sell 5 million units.
You're good at this.
After Dead Island came Dead Island Riptide, a game that offered more Dead Island but little in the way of improvements. Original developer Techland was slated to make Dead Island 2, but instead they split ways with publisher Deep Silver to make Dying Light. With Techland out, Deep Silver needed a new studio to make the sequel. Their search led them to Spec Ops: The Line developer Jaeger Studio. Much like the first game, Dead Island 2's trailer got people hyped. What starts as a morning jog becomes a run from hell as Los Angeles spirals into chaos behind a jogger's back. Whereas the first game's trailer was somber and serious, Dead Island 2's trailer was funny and hilarious. Jaeger's vision for the sequel was bold. The game allowed up to 8 players to explore post-apocalyptic California and kill zombies with an ever-expanding arsenal of weapons. With a spring 2015 release date, it wouldn't be long till we got to play Dead Island 2. And then it was delayed. Again, and again, and again.
Well, we're waiting.
As time passed, Jaeger left and Sumo Digital took over. Then they left and Dan Buster Studios stepped in. With its lengthy development time and frequent studio swaps, people assumed the sequel was dead and buried. However, it wasn't as dead as people thought, as Dead Island 2 crawled its way out of the grave and made its return at Gamescom 2022. It was alive and well, and even more surprisingly, looked kind of fun. Fast forward to 2023. It's been a few weeks since the game's release, and even as I record this, it feels surreal knowing the game exists and sits on my shelf. For context, I was finishing high school when Dead Island 2 was first announced. Now I'm a grown adult with bills to pay. What's even more surprising is that Dead Island 2 is good. It isn't a Frankenstein's monster of game mechanics, but a well-oiled machine that lets you kill zombies in gory, satisfying fashion.
She always likes surprises.
It's been over a decade since the Benoi incident. All is well until Los Angeles becomes the epicenter of a new outbreak. The military quarantines the City of Angels and enforces strict measures to ensure no one infected escapes. You play as one of 6 characters who shanghais their way onto an evacuation plane. It's all smooth sailing until one of the passengers goes zombie, causing a plane crash. Your character survives, only to be bitten shortly after. The good news is they're immune. The bad news is they need to escape Hell A. Their quest to do so sees them cross paths with some of LA's finest, including the GOAT himself, Sam B.
Being famous don't count for shit. Lucky for you, I've been through this before.
Dead Island 2's writing and tone are a departure from the original. The first Dead Island didn't know if it wanted to be a survival story or about the joys of using electric crowbars on zombie skulls. From the intro, Dead Island 2 establishes itself as a more lighthearted, pulpier experience. Dead Island's protagonists include a washed-up football player and Sam B. Dead Island 2's protagonists include an Irish punk rock chick and a British rock star who loves his mom and all things England.
So, wade through the ship, get into the CDC compound, find the blood sampler, use it. Home for fine wine and cake.
In all seriousness, the change in tone works, for the most part. Dead Island's story was ripped straight from the big book of zombie cliches. The problem was it had little in the way of personality, and any attempts at creating emotion just elicited awkward laughs instead.
My dad. Oh, fuck, my own fucking brother. Jesus Christ. What else could I do? Let him kill me? What the fuck do you want from me? I had no choice.
Oh, boo-hoo. Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
I was worried the game's comedy would be a non-stop cringe fest, but I was surprised to see it wasn't the case. Not every joke lands, but quite a few moments made me laugh, like when a biker goes for a toke after his head is caved in by a zombie. The main character is a non-stop chatterbox, but I never found him irritating. Your mileage may vary depending on who you play as, but during my time as Jacob, he never got on my nerves.
Oh, you are, huh? You're not here to eat us then?
There isn't enough ketchup in the world.
Comedian, huh?
I also love this game's environmental storytelling. The game takes you through various districts of LA, including Bel Air, Beverly Hills, and the Santa Monica Pier. Not only is each locale incredibly detailed, they're brimming with character. Seeing a blood-soaked bedroom or an abandoned comm station gives you a clue of what was going on before everything went to hell. All the zombies you encounter wear outfits relevant to the area you're in, so when exploring Venice Beach, there will be zombified beachgoers, and at the film studio, you'll encounter undead actors, extras, and crew members.
Do I know you?
Know me more than you realize.
Like I said earlier, the story is predictable. Without spoiling much, your character's immunity isn't just a happy accident, it's the turning point in human evolution. The main antagonist persuades the main character to let go of their humanity and embrace the gift they have. If you've seen a zombie movie or played any other zombie games, you know what happens next. Right as the story gets interesting, the game ends. Any dangling threads the game leaves will be wrapped up in post-game DLC. Dead Island 2's story might not be original, but it makes up for its predictability with its style.
Am I going to end up in some dead fan's stomach? You won't let that happen, will you?
If I'm immune, then I'm contacting the authorities.
Sam doesn't trust them.
Okay, well, that's his problem. I'm getting out of here.
Dead Island 2 is a first-person melee brawler with RPG and shooting elements. You'll complete quests to advance the story and do side quests to earn XP and unlock rare gear. Instead of exploring an open-world Los Angeles, you explore several smaller but sizable districts like Bel Air and Venice Beach. After the opening, you get to choose between one of 6 characters. Each has their own stats and abilities. Brian is high on health but low on agility. Bruno is high agility but low health. Jacob is an all-around type, etc. There's an assortment of weapons to use on the undead hordes of Los Angeles. Pool cues, golf clubs, and cleavers are one of several items you can acquire. About halfway into the game, you get guns. Guns include the usual suspects like pistols, shotguns, rifles, or my personal favorite, nail guns. Like Borderlands, weapons have a rarity scale, ranging from common to uber rare, and like Dead Rising, melee weapons have durability. Use a weapon too much, and it breaks. Workbenches are scattered around and let you repair items, as well as craft mods and perks. None of this will be new for returning Dead Island players, but Dambuster has made several improvements and adjustments to the formula, resulting in gameplay that's familiar but satisfying.
Let them bodies hit the floor! And no swearing in the first minute. I'm already on 2 strikes.
One of Dead Island 2's selling points is its fully locational evisceration system for humanoids, or flesh system. What this means is each swing, strike, or stab dynamically rips a zombie apart. Knock a zombie across the face with a blunt object, and it will loosen their jaw or expose the decayed gray matter underneath their skull. Elements like fire, electricity, or acid affect the body in various ways. Fire burns them to a crisp. Acid melts them away. Electricity gives them the jitters. The flesh system wouldn't look out of place in a Romero zombie movie. It's bloody, it's ridiculous, but it also isn't a back-of-the-box gimmick. It makes the combat that extra bit satisfying as each hit rips and tears their bodies apart. Dead Island 2's combat encourages environmental interaction. For example, if some zombies are standing in a puddle of water or swimming pool, you can strike the water with an electric weapon or throw in a battery for instant electrocution. Ditto for flammable objects like barrels and gas cans because you can spread fuel around before igniting it.
Oh man, someone's big day got stamped into the dirt.
Dambuster made several adjustments and changes to the mechanics. Let's start with stamina. In the original, stamina was consumed when sprinting or swinging weapons. Managing your stamina was essential because you could easily run out of breath if you weren't careful and get overwhelmed. Stamina is now consumed if you use a heavy strike or one of your special moves like the dropkick. The new stamina system is a mixed bag. On the one hand, I don't mind the fact things like jumping don't consume stamina. However, you're less likely to be overwhelmed because you can dodge and sprint infinitely without running out of breath.
Alright, use the workbench and let's get cooking.
Crafting has also been overhauled. Weapon mods and perks still require blueprints, as well as the right resources and weapon type. However, the mod types and requirements are more generalized, which I'm fine with. In the original, there was a huge assortment of mods, but a lot of them required something specific or were just the same mod but with a different name. Here, mods are clearly identified, and when you click on a weapon, it shows you all the available mods and perks for said weapon. Plus, if you're short on resources, you can scrap old weapons and use the parts to modify other weapons. With how many tools of destruction the game offers, it won't be long before your inventory is clogged up. The option to scrap gear means your lower leveled stuff won't go to waste. Of course, you can always sell weapons or store away your favorites for safekeeping. Additional changes include the removal of vehicles and skill trees, the latter of which has been replaced with skill cards. I'm okay with no vehicles because with how levels are designed, it's easy to get from point A to point B.
You're immune. You ain't bite-proof.
They're slow and dumb. I know I can handle myself.
The zombie game isn't complete without zombies, and Dead Island 2 has plenty of them. Shamblers shamble, walkers walk, runners run, crushers crush, suiciders suicide, screamers scream, and butchers butch. There are no human enemies, which I was initially disappointed by. Fighting humans in the original felt like an afterthought. The crappy shooting combined with the brain-dead AI made these parts a chore to play. When Dead Island 2 was re-revealed, one of the things I hoped to see was improved human encounters. Unfortunately, that's not the case. It's zombies, zombies, zombies.
Don't say that. What? That? What? That? The Z word.
Yet the more I played, the less I missed their presence because of how diverse the zombie types are. New variants are introduced at a steady pace, so you're not just fighting the same 5 or 6 types over and over. Combat is repetitive, but it never became tiring. At the end of the day, you're circle strafing and mashing the triggers to whittle away zombies, but the rotating arsenal of weapons and skills you acquire keeps it interesting. While melee combat is satisfying, the shooting is okay. It's an improvement over the first in that the guns don't feel like pea shooters. However, zombies are bullet sponges, so it discourages you from using your firearms. It's not a good sign when a normal zombie can shrug off 3 or 4 shotgun blasts even after said shotgun was upgraded.
C'est moi, baby. One big bad bag of guns.
Sweet. Where'd you find it?
Come on, bruv. Work with me here. The cop shop on the beach. Remember?
Dude, you lifted from a police station? You're crazy, man.
Replacing the skill trees from Dead Island is skill cards. These are acquired by completing quests or snooping around levels. Skill cards give your character various passive and active perks. For example, timing your blocks or dodges right regains health, and chaining together kills builds up fury. Skill cards are fine, but they're not game-changing. They can be useful, but most of them are bare variations of other skill cards. I would have preferred if they did something like Borderlands where you have skill trees as well as modifiers that improve certain skills. My skill cards went largely unnoticed until late in the game, when I was acquiring cards that made a difference. As it stands, the skill cards are a neat concept, but could have been better implemented. As you progress through the story, you unlock Fury. This is a rage meter that when activated, makes your character go into a frenzy. Late in the game, you unlock Autophage, which are Fury-related perks that make you more powerful at the cost of stamina and health. I like the risk-reward presented with Autophage. You're more powerful in this state, catch is it'll kill you if you use it too much.
A bit of simple maths, some knob twiddling, and absolutely no Google searches for quick solutions.
If I'm being honest, the original Dead Island is a boring game, in my opinion. Unless you're playing with friends, you'll become a literal zombie as you run from quest to quest, killing any corpses that get in your way. It doesn't help that 90% of the missions are fetch quests, so you'll become even more bored as you collect 5 of a certain item or retrieve something for someone ad nauseum. By comparison, I never got bored playing Dead Island 2, and I think it stems from how focused its design and structure are. The game isn't clogged with filler. It's you, a bunch of zombies, and several ways to slice, dice, and crush them. Dead Island 2 took me around 16 to 17 hours to beat. Disappointingly, there is no New Game Plus option. By the time I beat the game, I was close to hitting the level cap, so it's a shame there isn't a way to replay the adventure with a higher level character.
Big hot bath, then it's a first class seat out of LA. Again.
Dead Island 2 is gorgeous. It captures the LA atmosphere perfectly, what with its sunny California weather and zombies that want your brains. The character models are a huge upgrade over the first game's stiff-necked mannequins, and as I mentioned before, the zombie designs are cool. Locations are incredibly detailed. I had fun walking through houses and marveling at how great they looked before I smashed everything in sight. I never ran into any game-breaking bugs or technical issues. About the only glitch I encountered was the game placing a custom waypoint every time I loaded from a save. While the humor is hit and miss, the voice acting is solid, though Sam B's new voice sounds a bit too raspy. The music gets the job done, and I like the licensed tracks that play at key moments, like when you fight a hulking zombie bride to a generic love song. The real star of the sound design is the sound effects. Every snap, crackle, and pop that comes from dismembering zombies sounds great and sells the combat's visceral nature.
Tap on. Patton.
And I'm Sam B. You know, who do you voodoo, bitch?
When the game takes 9 years to make and goes through 3 developers, that's a sign for disaster. But Dead Island 2 surprised me. It isn't a train wreck like so many feared. It's a fun sequel that rights a lot of the original's wrongs and delivers some of the best zombie killing in recent memory. Story-wise, it's nothing new, but I enjoy the game's lively, pulpy tone. It doesn't suffer from tonal whiplash like the first one. It knows what it is, and while the writing doesn't always land, I'll take it over awkward melodrama any day of the week. The star of the game isn't the story, but the combat. There's no shortage of ways to slaughter the undead, and the flesh system that comes with the hacking and slashing offers buckets of gore that even Tom Savini would approve of. I also appreciate how the game isn't an endless series of checklists. Compared to a lot of modern titles, Dead Island 2 is restrictive. It doesn't feature a gigantic open world, instead it has a slew of sizable sandboxes that have a finite number of things to do. It was refreshing to play a game so focused in its design. Dead Island 2 isn't perfect. Some of the changes like the streamlined stamina or addition of skill cards sound good on paper, but are flawed in execution. I also wish there was more mission variety. The story missions don't evolve much, and by the end, I had done so many Valve puzzles that I'm pretty sure I'm now qualified to be an engineer. It has its flaws, but I really enjoyed Dead Island 2. Here's hoping it doesn't take another 10 years for them to make Dead Island 3. Dead Island 2 gets an 8 out of 10.